In the world of fame and glittering lights, where stories are told not only on screens but also in whispers and headlines, the lives of celebrities weave together into a tapestry of careers, fashion choices, charity work, safe controversies, fan interactions, inspirational journeys, and unforgettable achievements. And among the recent discussions, one that has caught attention involves Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, as reports surfaced that Justin Baldoni had been accused of repeated negative behavior and verbal abuse by an unnamed person in a case that also touched Blake Lively. And while headlines can sometimes sound louder than the truth, it is important to step back and explore the broader story of these stars within the larger picture of Hollywood and international celebrity culture. Because when we look at Justin Baldoni, we see an actor, a director, and a producer, known for his heartfelt projects, like Jane the Virgin and 5 Feet Apart, where his vision often centered on stories of love, resilience, and human connection. And yet, in the modern age of entertainment, careers are not defined by achievements alone, but also by the narratives that form around them. And similarly, Blake Lively has long been admired not only as the radiant star of Gossip Girl and numerous films, but also as a fashion icon, a philanthropist, and someone whose public image blends glamour with relatability. And so when her name becomes entangled in discussions of alleged disputes or tensions, curiosity rises among fans and media alike, because people have always wanted to know more than the surface. They want to know the real person behind the camera, the truth behind the polished image, and that curiosity fuels the never-ending storytelling of celebrity culture, where one chapter flows into another seamlessly, much like the friendships, rivalries, and collaborations that come and go over time. And as we talk about this moment between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, we must remember that entertainment history is filled with moments like these where stars navigate not only the spotlight but also the complexities of working relationships, the expectations of fans, and the scrutiny of the press, which can magnify small tensions into grand narratives. Yet amidst all this, it is also important to highlight the achievements, the kindness, and the resilience that define these figures. Because at the heart of every story is a person striving to do their best within a challenging and competitive industry, and when we reflect on Justin Baldoni, it is impossible not to acknowledge his deep commitment to telling meaningful stories. His TED Talk on redefining masculinity, his focus on family and fatherhood, and his efforts to create a positive space in media conversations, while Blake Lively too has shown strength in balancing her career and motherhood, often attending premieres with confidence and grace, while simultaneously advocating for causes close to her heart, including child welfare and environmental awareness. And this duality of career brilliance and personal authenticity is what makes their stories captivating. Whether people are discussing a new film project, a red carpet appearance, or a rumored conflict, the truth always lies somewhere between headlines and humanity. And speaking of humanity, one cannot ignore how fans play a role in these narratives, because fans bring passion, support, and endless energy to the world of celebrities, creating communities, online and offline, that discuss, debate, and celebrate every move of their favorite stars. And it is through these interactions that celebrities and audiences form a unique bond where admiration can uplift careers and feedback can influence decisions, making the relationship between stars and their fans one of the most powerful forces in entertainment history, stretching from Hollywood to Bollywood, from the West to the East, creating a shared global fascination with the lives of those who inspire through artistry, fashion, and presence. And if we look back in time, we see how similar stories have shaped careers when actors faced misunderstandings on sets, when musicians dealt with rumors about feuds, when directors clashed with producers, yet later came together to create masterpieces that audiences cherish for decades, proving that moments of tension do not define the legacy of stars, but rather the resilience they show and the art they produce. And that is why, when exploring the current moment of Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, we can frame it not as the end of a story, but as a chapter in a much larger book of their careers, where their achievements outshine their challenges, their charity work uplifts communities, their fashion statements inspire admirers, and their ability to return to projects or personal growth after difficulties shows the true measure of success in this glamorous yet demanding world of celebrity culture, as the story of Justin Baldoni's alleged repeated negative behavior and claims of verbal abuse continues to ripple through discussions connected to Blake Lively. It is crucial to remember that Hollywood is built on layers of collaboration, where actors, directors, writers, and crew work closely together. And sometimes these environments produce not only creative brilliance, but also tension and challenges, Yet even within these complexities, the bigger picture often shows resilience and reinvention for stars who face scrutiny and the public's ever-watchful eye, because the world has seen countless examples where controversies were followed by comebacks, where whispers of discord were overshadowed by groundbreaking work. And when looking at Justin Baldoni, it is worth reflecting on his journey from acting to producing to directing, where his commitment has consistently been toward telling stories with emotional depth and purpose. Stories like 5 Feet Apart, which touched millions with its portrayal of love under impossible circumstances, and stories like Clouds, which honored the legacy of Zach Sobiech by spreading a message of hope and music. And while accusations against Baldoni may raise questions among fans and observers, they cannot erase the creative contributions he has made, nor the potential of what lies ahead for him in a career built on pushing emotional boundaries. And similarly, Blake Lively has shown time and again that her story is not defined by a single headline, but by a lifetime of accomplishments from her iconic role as Serena van der Woodsen that made her a household name to her transformative performances in films like The Shallows and A Simple Favor, where she displayed not only beauty and fashion grace, but also raw talent and range. And her journey reminds us that celebrities often carry the weight of expectations alongside their personal lives, yet still find ways to inspire through their resilience, their style, and their causes, whether it be supporting children in need or amplifying awareness around social and environmental issues. And what makes this current narrative interesting is how it fits within the larger fabric of Hollywood, where feuds, friendships, alliances, and reconciliations are part of the rhythm of an industry that thrives on both art and attention. Because history is full of stories where public perception shifted rapidly, such as when Jennifer Lopez faced years of criticism, only to reinvent herself as a powerhouse in music, film, and business, or when Robert Downey Jr. went from personal struggles to becoming the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Iron Man, proving that setbacks can evolve into comebacks of legendary scale. And when we bring this back to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, it is clear that while accusations may spark headlines, the legacy of these stars will likely be defined not by temporary storms, but by how they weather them, how they continue to give fans moments of joy through performances, red carpet looks, charitable initiatives, and heartfelt interviews that connect them to audiences worldwide. And the emotional connection fans feel is what sustains the cycle, because millions tune in not only to see the latest movie or fashion look, but also to witness resilience, vulnerability, and the human side of celebrities who, despite fame, experience challenges similar to everyone else, from misunderstandings in friendships, to pressures at work, to balancing family and personal growth. And this reminder of shared humanity is why stories of stars facing difficulties often draw even more attention than their successes, because people are drawn to the drama, but stay for the inspiration when those stars rise again. And this is what keeps fans scrolling, watching, listening, and engaging, because each new chapter brings the possibility of redemption, achievement, or transformation that makes the celebrity journey endlessly fascinating and deeply emotional. And so, as the whispers around Baldoni's alleged behavior circulate, the narrative is still unfolding, and fans are left to wonder what his next move will be, whether he will address the claims directly, whether his work will continue to resonate, and whether the bonds between colleagues like Blake Lively and others will remain strong despite the turbulence. Because Hollywood has shown us time and again that no single moment defines a career, and the greatest stars are often those who continue to move forward, creating new memories for fans who stand by them, even when the road is uncertain. When diving deeper into the conversation about Justin Baldoni and the allegations of repeated negative behavior and verbal abuse that have been mentioned in connection to the Blake Lively case, it becomes clear that this is not just about one story, but about the broader culture of Hollywood, where accountability, creativity, resilience, and reputation intersect in fascinating ways, because Baldoni has built a reputation for being a thoughtful director and advocate for empathy, as shown through his book, Man Enough, which explores vulnerability and masculinity, and through his TED Talks that have inspired millions around the world. Yet these accusations remind us that even those who present thoughtful public images can face scrutiny and challenges. And this is something that has been seen many times across the celebrity landscape, where public and private personas collide, and where narratives evolve sometimes into setbacks and sometimes into powerful reinventions. And when we look at Blake Lively, we see a performer who has continuously balanced fashion stardom and family life with a unique sense of poise. She has become an icon not only for her red carpet looks, but also for her approachable and relatable personality, often seen in the playful exchanges she shares with her husband Ryan Reynolds, which have made fans feel closer to her. And in situations like these where legal cases or controversies emerge, fans tend to feel conflicted, yet many also hold on to the larger body of work and the inspirational presence that these stars have cultivated. And this pattern is reflected in countless examples from celebrities like Taylor Swift, who faced years of criticism and industry battles, only to turn those narratives into powerful albums and record-breaking tours, or Selena Gomez, who has been open about her struggles with health and personal challenges, but has continued to grow as an artist, philanthropist, and fashion icon, inspiring millions with her courage and authenticity. And these parallels help audiences contextualize stories like the one surrounding Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, reminding them that the entertainment world is full of complexity, where stars are both celebrated and scrutinized, where moments of controversy can overshadow accomplishments, but where resilience and artistry often lead to eventual redemption. And as fans keep scrolling through feeds or watching interviews or attending premieres, what captivates them most is not the scandal itself, but the way celebrities emerge from it, how they reclaim their voices through fashion statements, through charitable actions, through unforgettable performances, or even through humble admissions of growth and reflection. Because these are the qualities that humanize celebrities and make them more than just distant figures on a screen. They become companions in the journey of life, demonstrating that mistakes, challenges, and accusations do not always define the entirety of who they are. And in Justin Baldoni's case, the public will watch closely to see how he navigates these difficult times, whether his projects continue to connect with audiences, whether his relationships with co-stars like Blake Lively remain strong, and whether his legacy ultimately leans more toward his inspirational advocacy or toward the controversies currently tied to his name. And through it all, the entertainment industry moves forward, introducing new faces, new stories, and new comebacks, reminding everyone that while headlines may rise and fall, what endures is the connection between celebrities and the fans who support them. As the narrative continues around Justin Baldoni and the accusations of repeated negative behavior and verbal abuse connected to the Blake Lively case, it is important to place these moments in the larger context of how the entertainment industry responds to challenges and reinvents itself time and again, because Hollywood thrives on stories not only on screen but also behind the scenes, and the resilience of stars often becomes just as captivating as the roles they play. And when audiences hear about tension or disputes, they naturally become curious, but what keeps them engaged in the long run is the way these celebrities move past obstacles and redefine their journeys. And Blake Lively stands as a shining example of this reinvention. She has carved her path from being a breakout star on Gossip Girl to becoming a red carpet icon and entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and a mother who balances fame with a relatable, down-to-earth personality. And even when linked to controversy, she maintains grace and continues to inspire with her effortless fashion sense, her passion for causes close to her heart, and her enduring connection with fans who admire her authenticity. And in parallel, Justin Baldoni has been known not only for his directorial projects like 5 Feet Apart and It Ends With Us, but also for his advocacy for men to embrace vulnerability and empathy through his movement and public speaking, which makes these accusations even more complex, because audiences are left to reconcile the image of a thoughtful speaker with the allegations being reported. And this is not unlike the journeys of many other stars who have faced scrutiny, only to find ways to rebuild their narratives. For instance, Robert Downey Jr. faced years of legal and personal issues before making one of the greatest comebacks in Hollywood history as Iron Man, redefining himself as both a box office titan and an inspirational figure. Or Britney Spears, whose story of resilience captured global attention as she fought for her personal freedom, showing the world the strength it takes to reclaim one's voice. Or even international stars like Priyanka Chopra, who navigated cultural barriers and global criticism while building an empire of acting, fashion, and philanthropy, proving that no amount of public scrutiny can overshadow determination and passion. And in every one of these cases, what connects fans most deeply is not perfection, but humanity, because people relate to struggles as much as they do to success. And in Baldoni's case, the road ahead will likely involve both scrutiny and opportunities to show growth, perhaps through his future creative projects, his public discussions about accountability, or the ways he chooses to engage with fans and the media. And as this unfolds, it is worth remembering that controversies do not erase achievements, but they do add layers to the complex stories of public figures. Stories that remind us that celebrities are not untouchable icons, but people navigating extraordinary lives under the world's brightest. Spotlight and fans will continue to watch with curiosity, with hope, and with the fascination that keeps the entertainment world spinning. As the story reaches this point and the discussion around Justin Baldoni and the accusations of repeated negative behavior and verbal abuse in the Blake Lively case continues to circulate, it becomes clear that the fascination with celebrity culture is not only about glamorous premieres, dazzling fashion, or blockbuster movies, but also about how these individuals navigate the unpredictable storms that fame brings, because every star carries a dual image, the one seen on screen and the one unfolding in real life, and what captivates audiences most is when those two images collide, creating a narrative that feels raw, vulnerable, and relatable. Blake Lively has long been celebrated as one of Hollywood's most fashionable and charming personalities, and through her work on beloved films and her red carpet presence, she has cultivated an aura of elegance and poise. Yet her involvement in legal disputes shows that even someone so admired can find herself at the center of complicated narratives. And Justin Baldoni, whose career includes both acting in Jane the Virgin and directing heartfelt projects, has also built a reputation as an advocate for emotional honesty. But the allegations paint a picture that contradicts that public persona, reminding audiences that no star is free from the weight of scrutiny. And this duality is what makes following celebrities such an emotional roller coaster, because we cheer for their triumphs, we empathize with their setbacks, and we remain invested in their comebacks. And just as we have watched figures like Taylor Swift navigate public feuds and still rise to become one of the most powerful entertainers of her generation, or Selena Gomez balance health challenges alongside chart-topping, music and global business ventures, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson reinvent himself from a wrestling icon to a Hollywood megastar to a philanthropist who spreads positivity worldwide, we understand that the journey is never linear. It is filled with peaks and valleys that make the narrative richer. And when controversies emerge, whether large or small, they serve as turning points in these larger-than-life stories, offering celebrities a chance to show resilience, to acknowledge challenges, and to remind the world that imperfection is part of being human. And as fans tune in to every headline, whether about Blake Lively's elegant comeback on a red carpet or Justin Baldoni's next creative move, they are not just consuming entertainment, they are participating in a collective story of fame, love, growth, resilience, and reinvention that mirrors their own desires to overcome struggles and to find light through difficult times. And this is why the fascination with celebrity never fades, because it is not simply about star power, it is about human power. And as the case continues to unfold, people will watch not only for the outcome, but for the way each individual chooses to write the next chapter of their journey, a chapter that will be remembered not just for controversy, but for the strength to keep moving forward under the brightest lights in the world. As the narrative moves further into the unfolding story surrounding Justin Baldoni and the allegations of repeated negative behavior and verbal abuse in the Blake Lively case, what becomes increasingly important is how celebrity culture magnifies every detail, transforming private disputes into public fascination and shaping perceptions in ways that sometimes eclipse the actual work of the artists themselves. Because at its core, Hollywood is a machine that thrives on stories, whether they are scripted for the big screen or unscripted, and played out in tabloids and social media feeds, and fans follow these stories with the same intensity they bring to their favorite movies or shows, wanting to see how the characters they admire navigate real-life conflicts. And that is why discussions around these allegations go beyond the courtroom. They spark larger conversations about professionalism, kindness, accountability, and the pressures of fame. Because Justin Baldoni has for years positioned himself as someone who promotes vulnerability, emotional honesty, and respect through projects like his book and TED Talks, and to have that image questioned through accusations feels jarring for fans who admired that philosophy. While Blake Lively, admired for her glamour and relatability, finds herself balancing personal dignity with public scrutiny, and this dual dynamic reflects a wider truth about the entertainment industry, that stars are not just defined by their roles or their red carpet appearances, but by how they respond when life puts them under the microscope. And when controversies appear, we can look back at others who endured similar challenges, like Britney Spears, whose journey from early fame to public struggles to eventual liberation captured the hearts of millions, or Robert Downey Jr., who once faced career-shattering setbacks, yet reinvented himself into Iron Man, a global symbol of redemption, or even Angelina Jolie, who turned difficult personal headlines into a platform for humanitarian leadership. And what all these stories prove is that a controversy is not necessarily the end, but often the beginning of a more compelling chapter. And so whether or not Justin Baldoni emerges from this moment with his public image strengthened or questioned will depend not only on the outcome of the case, but on the way he chooses to tell. His story moving forward, while Blake Lively's path will likely highlight her ability to balance strength with grace, a quality she has shown time and again throughout her career. And as fans watch this drama unfold, they are reminded of why they stay glued to celebrity culture, because it is ultimately about resilience, about finding beauty in imperfection, and about seeing that even the brightest stars sometimes struggle with their own storms, yet manage to shine again.